We have some news just coming in. Let's go straight to the Supreme Court of India, where the hearing has begun in the Uddhav Thackeray plea against the Election Commission. Remember, the Election Commission has given the bow and arrow symbol to the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena, something that Uddhav Thackeray has challenged in the Supreme Court. In fact, there's been a lot of political noise after this symbol was given to the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena, with Uddhav Thackeray challenging this, asking questions of the Election Commission, also saying that there is huge amount of political pressure on the Election Commission. Taking this battle to the Supreme Court of India, the matter is being heard as we speak. The matter, in fact, has just begun to be heard in the Supreme Court. Shrishti Oja has more details on that story. Shrishti, pretty much the Supreme Court, in respite from it, is what Uddhav Thackeray is looking at. He really does not have any other option given the thumbs down from the Election Commission, isn't it?
Well, yes, Sneha, Election Commission's order recognizing the Eknath Shinde faction as the official Shiv Sena and allotting the Shiv Sena symbol and name to them has come as a major blow to the Uddhav Thackeray faction, which is why they've now approached the top court of the country. They've tried to seek an urgent hearing twice before this, and the case is finally being heard by Supreme Court right now. My colleague Anu Sharda is sending us live updates from what's happening inside the court. A bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, is hearing the present case. Now remember, when the Thackeray faction had sought listing of this case, they had asked the court to list this matter before the constitutional bench, because as we know, a constitution bench of 5 judges of the Supreme Court is already hearing cases pertaining to the Maharashtra political crisis. The hearing has been going on, and what senior advocate Kapil Sibal had sought from the court was that the present case, the ECI issue, should also be heard by the constitution bench. The Chief Justice of India had, however, refused to do that. He has now constituted a special 3-judge bench which is hearing the case presently. We have live updates coming from the hearing. The Shinde faction has opposed the maintainability of this, has questioned the maintainability of the present case before the top court. They've said they'd also raised this issue earlier before the court, but what senior advocate N.K. Kaul, appearing for the Shinde faction, has told the court today, is that the case should go before the High Court and the Supreme Court should not hear the case. In fact, they've also pointed out that the Thackeray faction has already approached the High Court multiple times on this issue and it was not entertained. So, Supreme Court may not be the correct forum for Thackeray faction to come to. They've also said that this entire issue has been argued for 1 full day. And today again they have come to the top court. So basically they're questioning the maintainability of this petition, if this case, if Supreme Court should even hear or entertain this issue in the first place. What the court decides to do is something that we'll know in a bit, if it finds any merit in Shinde faction's argument, if it decides to interfere in the case or not, and to what extent is something that we'll know soon. What we hear now is that senior advocate Kapil Sibal, appearing for the Thackeray faction, has now begun his arguments. As we know, the Thackeray faction has clearly questioned the ECI's order. They have even attacked the ECI, saying that the Election Commission did not fulfill its duty as a neutral arbiter. They have questioned the political party's constitution. They've called it undemocratic, which was not correct on ECI's part. They've also said that the ECI has relied on majority of those MLAs who themselves are under the cloud of disqualification. So there are issues which are already pending before the Supreme Court. The issue of disqualification is still pending. The issue of disqualification of those MLAs is still pending and has not been decided yet. So on what basis did the ECI pass this order? And the ECI should have waited for the Supreme Court's decision before it passed the order on the Shiv Sena party's name and symbol.
Yes, and this really
what
is...
we also hear now is that Mr. Sibal...
Go ahead.
Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal is also now making arguments regarding the constitutional issues. He's also saying that the basis of the ECI order in this present case is a test of majority, and like I've already told you, test of majority in the legislative wing. The Thackeray faction is expressing grave concern as far as the ECI's order in this regard is concerned, because as we know, they're claiming that the MLAs on basis of whom the majority is now, ECI has tested the majority, those MLAs are themselves under the cloud of disqualification, and it has been the case of Thackeray faction since the beginning that those MLAs should have been disqualified in the first place, and they cannot be considered when the ECI decided to decide on the majority that both the factions have. We'll keep bringing you live updates from what's happening inside the Supreme Court right now. As we know, the court, a bench led by CJI, is hearing the case presently, and we'll soon know to what extent would the court decide to interfere in the matter.
Okay, now that's a big question mark really, that there is a possibility as far as the Supreme Court's intervention is concerned. Give us a sense of the argument that is being presented from the Uddhav Thackeray camp by Kapil Sibal there. What has he said just yet? What are you picking up, Shrishti?
Well, what Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal has asked the court is, they've asked the court to go through the Election Commission's order at this point. They've said, he's saying that the ECI has in its order said that the Constitution that they've made some remarks on and observations about is not placed on record. This is something that the Thackeray faction has also made some claims in their petition, that it was wrong for the Election Commission of India to say that the amended Constitution of 2020, the party's constitution, which they have now called undemocratic, was not placed before the commission. However, the Thackeray faction has said that back in 2018, the same constitution was recognized by the Election Commission of India. So it is incorrect on the Election Commission's part to now say that the amended constitution was never placed before them. Not just that, the Thackeray faction has also argued that Eknath Shinde and his camp itself has also recognized that very constitution in the past. So ECI's order there's an error apparent on the face of record as far as the ECI's order is concerned, especially with remarks to the constitution, because the ECI has said that there's a democratic deficit in the party. The constitution is undemocratic, which is why it cannot be relied upon in this present case.
Shrishti getting us all of those details.
Now from what we hear is...
Go ahead, Shrishti.
Mr. Sibal is now reading the ECI order and as we know, a Senior Advocate N.K. Kaul appearing for Shinde faction has opposed this particular case, and he's also said that 2 days of constitution bench hearing, which has been hearing arguments from Thackeray faction with respect to the constitutional issues, the overall issues in the Maharashtra political crisis. What is being now argued by the Shinde faction is that these arguments have already been made before the constitution bench, and he's also asked the court, he wants to explain how these issues have in a way already been argued before the constitution bench and are only being repeated at this point of time. Mr. Sibal, appearing for Thackeray faction, has also told the court that the Thackeray faction, Uddhav Thackeray, has a majority everywhere else. What he's referring to is the organizational wing of the party, because as I told you earlier, it's a claim that's being made by Uddhav Thackeray and his faction before the Supreme Court that he has an overwhelming majority in the organizational wing of the party. He has said that the Pratinidhi Sabha, which is the apex body of members of Shiv Sena and which represents the wishes of Shiv Sena members, is where it's Uddhav Thackeray who has a majority, 160 out of 200 members of that apex body.